Hello, my name is Christina Ng and I'm a pastry chef. I'm really happy to be partnering with Vitasoy this year in their Baking with Tofu campaign. And this recipe that we're going to be doing today is going to be a ginger berry tart. And it's really yummy because we have this really nice kind of crumbly cookie crust and we paired it up with a white chocolate ganache. And what I was able to do with the Sansui silken tofu was to really up the creaminess factor and then also add a little bit of kick with the ginger. So it's really a great pairing. So what I'm going to start off with first is a really easy short dough crust. And that's basically 4 parts of flour to 1 part of confectioner's sugar. And then I also have some butter in here. So it's really easy to make. You put it in to a mixer with the paddle attachment. And then, you blend it together until it kind of reaches kind of a wet sand stage. And then right after that, the dough starts coming together. I have a couple of tart shells that I've already filled, but I'm going to fill in one for you. And you can make the tarts as big or as small as you want and just portion the dough accordingly. So I find that a really easy method of filling in tart shells is to kind of roll it up into a coil. And what you're doing is you are pressing against the sides. Okay? And making sure that no dough kind of goes over this ledge. And then you're going to have a big blob in the middle. And that's really great for just pressing down in the middle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take kind of your middle finger and be kind of wary of this because a lot of dough buildup is on the corners of the tart shell. So you do want to make sure that you're pressing it in and then using your thumb on top to kind of squish that dough back down so that it doesn't get too over the top here. And then a good tip for these before you bake them is to actually dock the dough because it actually rises a lot in the oven. So what docking is, you basically take a fork and then you just want to make sure to poke a couple of holes in on the bottom so that the dough doesn't rise up too much. Okay. So these are all set and they go into a preheated oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 350 degrees, just until they get nice and golden brown. All right, so tofu time. I am going to be putting in about a half a block of tofu for about 1/3 cup. And I'm just gonna make sure that this lid is nice and tight. You just blend generally. Okay, so you want the tofu to be actually nice and thick and creamy like this. All right, so we're onwards to making that ginger cream for our tart. And the idea actually came off of a whipped white chocolate ganache, but we're gonna try to recreate the same thing while not making it too sweet. So I have a couple of ways of infusing this with a lot of ginger flavor. And what I ended up doing was I pureed about a half cup of the Vitasoy refrigerated and unsweetened soy milk in with about 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger. And I just pureed it in the blender. What I did was I strained it out onto this pot, and you got to be careful to not get this too hot or else the ginger is going to really thicken up the cream. So right before it starts to get too hot, I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of bloomed gelatin. Okay, and that's just going to be rehydrated gelatin from the package, and it helps the gelatin melt a lot better into the cream. All right, so I have about a cup and 1/3 of my melted white chocolate, which I've melted over a double boiler. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour this hot ginger soy milk right over it. And then just whisk it together until it's smooth. And you can see that it's a little bit more liquid right now, but with the addition of gelatin, it will set really well, kind of like a really thick pastry cream, but without kind of all of that sweetness and additional fats from the white chocolate. Okay, and once that's smooth, just add in a little bit of our pureed tofu. Okay. You can still use a whisk for this. And to provide that additional ginger flavor, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of your powdered ginger, which adds a nice spice, whereas the fresh ginger is going to kind of be a little bit more fresh tasting, a little bit more acidic as well. So it adds an extra nice note of ginger. Okay. And this looks pretty good. If there are lumps from the ginger, feel free to strain it. And what I'm going to do is Just wrap this up in saran wrap afterwards, take it to the refrigerator, and just let it set until it kind of firms up, so a couple of hours for that. All right, so my tart shells have come out of the oven, and I've let them rest for a couple of minutes until they're nice and hard. And now I'm going to be filling it with my set ginger tofu cream. Usually about 2 tablespoons does it. Okay. Nice and easy. Just make sure that it reaches the sides. Okay. And then afterwards, you just top it off with the berries of your choice. So I'm going to take a little bit of blueberries and a little bit of the blackberries. I think it should be really pretty. Maybe a little bit more. All right, awesome. So for this recipe and others like it, visit myvitasoy.com and bake better with tofu.